What's up, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more soundtrack. And indeed, this is a channel where I've been celebrating physical media, CDs and records and so on. It occurred to me that if I'm going to do soundtrack and score reactions, it might behoove me to show some of the material from which the music comes. So I'm going to start reacting to more music from J-drama, J-drama meaning Japanese television, like live action drama, meaning real people, not animated. I'm a big fan of J-drama. I've been watching for, I don't know, like 17 years. I dated a girl in the early 2000s who was very into Japanese entertainment, and in particular Japanese television drama. So she got me into it, and then even after that relationship ended, that interest continued. And over the years, I've probably seen more Japanese television shows than like American television shows. I watch a lot of international TV. I watch like some Danish shows and obviously a lot of British shows. So yeah, I do like TV from some different places, but perhaps none more so than Japanese drama. I mean, there's just a lot of culturally specific things about Japanese television, like the way it's presented, the way that most series are like one-off, like 10 or 11 episodes. They're essentially like mini-series, but sometimes if it's really, really popular, they will bring it back for successive seasons. The way they do special episodes, there's just a whole range of cultural elements, and that's just in terms of the presentation. And then, like the writing, sure, there are like aspects of storytelling that, are ubiquitous across human cultures, but there's just a way that, Japanese drama tells stories, and the way they use music and so on. And indeed, one of the best things, quite beyond the great actors and actresses and the good directors and so on, as well as the really compelling stories, like the narratives themselves of these shows, but the music in a lot of J-drama is just ridiculously good, to the point where, like, when I'm watching, I'm like, oh my god, is this soundtrack available somewhere? Because I can't handle how good this is. So yeah, we're going to listen to a piece of music from a show called Code Blue. It's often given the subtitle in English, Helicopter Doctor. It's about a young class of doctors who've just come out of medical school, and they're doing their residency at this hospital in Japan, and they're training to be doctors who are like, real top of the line emergency, like they, in natural disasters or like, train catastrophes. They go through all sorts of incidents and health dangers and so on. They are flown out in a helicopter, and they land and they have to assess the health situation and who is in the worst condition and so on amid chaotic conditions and circumstances. I've seen a lot of medical drama over the year. I would argue it's the best medical drama I've seen, and I've seen some good ones from here in the States and so on. I'm not going to slag any show, but again, I do think Code Blue is the best military medical drama I've seen. The first season, which is the piece of music we're going to listen to, is from the first season. It ran in 2008. There's a lot of really great actors and actresses. I'd say the two most famous are Tomohisa, or Yamapi is how he's known, but Tomohisa Yamashita is like his name. But yeah, he goes by Yamapi. He's also a musician. He's sort of the main character in the real, ice in his veins, like top of his class, just, doesn't even like want to get distracted by anything that's sort of like real or like social life. He's just like, class number one, student number one, the Iceman. But yeah, so he's the main character. And then Aragaki Yui, who goes by Gaki, she plays sort of the female lead. But again, there's so many other characters, and they're all like important. So anyway, the second season, there's like a special episode that was 2009 that sort of bridges season 1 and 2. Season 2 is 2010. Then they took like 7 years off, and they came back for season 3 in 2017. And indeed, they make it so that like in the narrative, as much time as passed in real life has passed in the show. And that's this is season 2. This is season 3, and then they finished everything off with a proper like theatrical release film in 2018. So as I said, the piece of music we're going to listen to is from season 1, and all the soundtracks for the show. I don't know about the movie for sure, but I assume it's the same. But at least for all 3 seasons of the show, as well as the special episode between seasons 1 and 2, the music is by Sato Naoki. Now, Sato is the surname, and Naoki is the given name. So yeah, we're going to listen to a piece of music called Misty D.P.S. And D.P.S is like, it has periods, like it's an acronym, although I don't know what that acronym stands for. It's a sort of like pulsing and dramatic piece of music. It's often used when they like arrive at the scene and they're trying to figure out, you know, what the conditions of again, like a train crash, or if there's been like a poison scare or whatever it is. They have to, you know, this plays when they're arriving on the scene trying to figure things out in chaotic conditions. So here we go, Misty D.P.S by Sato Naoki from the soundtrack for Code Blue Helicopter Doctor Season 1. Very like austere and atmospheric, but you can feel the pulse rhythm like already. That bass. So yeah, a lot of these, you know, soundtrack pieces, they tend to be like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes long, because they're, you know, they're sort of incidental music, and they're, you know, they're not like a full 6 minute expansive like electronic track. They're more like, here's a minute and a half, you know, where we'll use like narratively for certain purposes. But I really enjoy it. I mentioned it before, I forget where it was. I think it was like on my old YouTube account, like commenting under, you know, there's like YouTube videos of soundtracks, including for Code Blue, at least like Season 1 for sure, I think maybe Season 2 also, I think Season 3, I think all 3 seasons you can find like the full soundtracks on YouTube. But I remember commenting and just saying that like, dude, this is like a tune that I could use in one of my ambient mixes. It has that like down-tempo, dramatic, like, you know, there's those deep kind of like those bass flares that kind of went in that like triple rhythm. But also sort of the like high kind of like tonal melodic layer. So yeah, I remember commenting like, man, I could use this in one of my ambient mixes or like down tempo mixes. It really has that flavor. Again, it's a bit short, it's like a minute and a half, so like it wouldn't really necessarily work like in that context, just, you know, other than maybe like being a good way to transition between two tunes that otherwise like maybe wouldn't flow together well. So who knows, you might see it in one of my ambient mixes one day, but I never have done it just because, like I said, it's so short, like as incidental music, that it's not the same as like a 6 or 7 minute Sybient track. But yeah, shout out to Sato Naoki. That's a cool tune. I enjoyed the soundtrack for all the seasons. We're gonna come back for at least a couple more tunes in the Code Blue Sonic story, shall we say. But yeah, let me know what you think of this. Other than that, I will see you next time.